We're rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerdbuzzed.
Nerdbuzzed doesn't condone the consumption of alcohol by any persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Nerdbuzzed, the podcast where we talk about all the nerdy stuff that we care about and drink a cool frosty brew while we're doing it.
Or a pot tie.
I'm your host, Marcus Zellinger. With me, as always,
Jeremiah Johnson.
And he's back once again. We can barely stand him.
Jesus Spicoli.
Yeah, Spicoli. Get over your locks.
Not that big of a gag reflex, ladies. Wait.
Dudes?
Wow. Okay.
The opposite of ladies. Yeah.
You just turned
Nice,
me on, bro.
nice. Okay, so this is basically going to be an after party. Before we totally get into the party, as always, please subscribe and like all of our stuff. Find us on Twitter, on Facebook, all of it Nerdbuzzed. It really, really does mean the world to us if you just comment, say something, show us that you care. We love it. It'd be nice to know we weren't doing this just for ourselves. But this might be the podcast that I think Jack said it best. It might break up Nerdbuzzed. This might be the official last.
We need a lightning strike for like dramatic.
Cow! Right? Yeah.
Explosion will have to work.
Yeah. We are going to do our best. There's been this wicked bush that we've been beating around on so many episodes, and that is how good are the Marvel movies, which I think we can all agree, amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I think they are really good, which is what is going to make the subject of our episode today actually pretty difficult to do. We're going to rate all of the MCU movies up to date now, which is up to Infinity War, so 19 of them. We are going to decide together, this is a democracy here, we're going to work together and come up with our Nerdbuzz definitive list, 1 through 19, how do they fall for us as a podcast. And I can already tell you, some of them we totally agree on. I know what those are, only a couple. And some of them we're going to really struggle with. But we're going to treat it like an after party. We don't care what we're drinking as long as we're drinking. So we're going to keep drinking.
Only because you're still drinking.
We are still drinking.
No, I've refilled my glass for this episode.
Oh, but you're still drinking.
Well, of course.
None of us here, even Jack with his non-alcoholic brews, is still drinking.
Blast.
Blast.
Why don't you show it to the camera so everybody can see it? Oh, wait, they can't.
Yeah, they can't. It's the magic drink of the gods. So I'm going to finish this gross, disgusting remnants and start on a real beer.
And it's gone.
Unlike Jack,
Hour and a half later.
Yeah, unlike Jack, I have a gag reflex. And apparently wheat does it. So, okay. So, Jack, please bring up our 1 through 19.
Ooh.
He's got it sitting there. Bring it up. There it is. Ba-ba. So, throughout the episode, we are going to shuffle around our MCU movies and move those around. I can't wait for 7 through 10 because we will no longer see Jack. But
I can move myself, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll cover you, Mark.
He has too much power, and boom. So, let's start out. I think we need to find something that we can agree on first, right?
Okay, so we're going with number 19 to start
Number 19.
Number 19, I would have to say, Guardians 1. What a pile of garbage.
So the
we're
Incredible
all gonna
Hulk goes in number 19.
Okay, but there's real legitimate reasons why the Hulk goes in there. And I think it's not only because it's a garbage movie, right?
Yeah.
It is basically, it's the worst version of the Hulk in the MCU, hands down. Nobody is ever going to argue that.
In the MCU.
Yes. But
I liked that Hulk better than the first Hulk, though.
really?
That
Because
first one was weird.
but
I
there
did
were
not like
parts
the first one.
but there were parts about that first one that I loved, like the weird comic book panel scenes. I thought was actually pretty sweet nod to the comic books.
I have to read it. I have to see it again to remember that, because I don't remember that. It doesn't stand with me.
Yeah, it had like distinct like moments where like they would have the panels like slide in and fill out the scene, and then it would go into like the action, right?
Oh, I
and
don't remember
those moments were great, but it's not a good movie
Okay.
for sure. But I think we can say that even Marvel itself has like totally not acknowledged this movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
So not us, and not everybody else out there, but Marvel, MCU, Marvel Studios themselves would prefer to ignore this movie.
Yeah.
So it's already there. He already did it. That is our number 19. We can all agree.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, number 18.
No.
No.
I give you a solid reason why. The reason why Iron Man number 2, I think needs to be at the minimum number 11, if not on the 1 through 10 somewhere. Iron Man 2 is the first movie that Black Widow shows up in incognito and then reveals herself as Black Widow, and you bring in Nick Fury, and it actually makes a universe. Without Iron Man 2, we would not have an MCU. You can't argue that.
I gave it 12.
You made it number 12? So we're close, though, because I'm willing to put it number, 11.
Thor 2.
Thor 2?
Garbage.
That's-
Filler, garbage.
Thor Dark World, that's what I've got.
I have it as 18, yes.
All right, we can agree on that.
So why, though? We can't just
It
throw
was-
movies
it
in there. We
was
have to give a
filler
reason why.
garbage. Nothing important happened except they established, a second Infinity Stone. That doesn't matter. It's too boring.
Doesn't matter. It's just...
Well, no, but
The whole
it just felt like, whoa, the movie was like, whoa, look at Infinity Stone. Like,
It
that
was. I agree that I think Thor 2 is one of the most blatant, checking boxes movies there is. And I think they really did that a lot in there. So I'm totally cool with it. So if you're watching the video and they pop up on the screen, they were originally just in release order. So we will shuffle them from there.
So there's going to be some shuffling around, but just, bear with me. I'm only but one man.
That's right. But he has all the power, and it scares the crap out of us.
It just suddenly got, from, dark to bright. It's kind of weird.
So I think it's a safe bet to say that on our in our bottom 5 to 7, I don't know what your guys' lists are, but I'm assuming they're going to be solo movies. Origin story, potential solo movies? Maybe not?
Infinity War is really up there for me.
No.
No?
Let's see. I'll read off my...
No.
Mine is, I have a few...
The bottom 5, you're saying?
Yeah, the bottom
actually,
5.
Thor 3, Guardians 2, Infinity War, Civil War.
That's their top 5, right?
Yeah. Bottom.
Wait a minute. I hope the camera picked that up, or the mic and the camera, because I totally made room for that.
Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor 2.
If you make too much room,
Thor,
you too.
Avengers
That's true. Thank you.
2.
I will correct that next time.
Avengers 2 also felt kind of forgettable. I mean, it established Vision, which was cool.
What?
But it was just
Okay, this is my argument for Avengers 2. Avengers 2 is the movie where Tony Stark really goes on his own agenda and says, screw you as the rest of the Avengers, I'm going to do my own thing, and basically kind of stabs them in the back. And he even baits Banner into joining him on that campaign, which I think is really important because immediately after that, or at least pretty quick after that, we get Civil War. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of what made Civil War awesome is because of what happened in Avengers 2.
Avengers 2 was
right?
It just felt like everyone was kind of fighting for no reason. I don't know. It just felt...
They were fighting for their own reason, which I think is what makes that movie so
important. To be clear,
important.
Captain America really should just be an Avengers movie.
What, the first one?
The Civil War.
But again, I disagree because I had this discussion the other. I got to be a guest on the Enthusiast podcast, the Enthusiast Life. Go check them out; they're awesome. And we kind of debated that a little bit. I think that Civil War is a Captain America movie because that is the defining point when Captain America gives up and decides to just disband and become his own, basic kind of mercenary type guy, right? He's giving up hope on everybody else and needs to go by his own rules.
He starts as peppy American, Star Spangled Man with the plane. And now he's a terrorist, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's a cool terrorist.
He is. I think he is the main focal point of that movie. So I kind of give it to him a little bit on that it is called Captain America. But I do agree that's the beginning of them blurring those defining lines.
I'm sorry, stuffing Ant-Man into the back seat of a Volkswagen is the defining part.
You think so? He should have just shrank. Yeah. No, that was in the butt. That was in the van.
Oh, that's right.
That was not the Volkswagen.
That's
yeah,
right.
That was Rhodes and Bucky.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. But yeah, you should never have to stuff Ant-Man in anything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Bucky was going after Stark's parents, and he just punches their car and it crashes into a tree. Like he's just like, oh yeah, they're just superheroes. They're really strong. I don't know. That was just funny. Like if you watch the scene, he just like punches their car and like crashes into a tree.
I love that we've gotten 2 in, right? I have on my list. I'm gonna say
Thor. Thor was kind of boring because he didn't have the hammer the whole time. I mean, it was establishing, but like for the most part, I felt it was kind of boring.
I'm gonna agree that I think Thor belongs on the. I would give it to you that it belongs on the right side.
Yeah.
Do you think? If not the right side, the very bottom of the left side.
I have Thor as 14.
You have him as 14? I'm not willing to throw 4 as number 17. I'm not willing to give that up. I will argue on that. I think there's worse movies than Thor.
Like a lot of
You
these
are
other
not
movies-
going to like my 17 at all.
Can we just establish though across the board that this isn't easy because I think that a lot of these are really good.
Yeah.
Like just because we put them at 15 doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means it's not as good as the ones before it.
Okay, so can we establish the direction that we came from when we established these lists?
Yeah, no, I think that's good to do. Yes.
Because I established this list. This is the third iteration of my list.
Yeah.
And the first one I did was what was the most impactful to me.
Okay.
And that was a completely different list than what I have here. But that's not the movies that I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And I was
I
like,
think that's the most important.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, when I sit down and want to watch a Marvel movie, which one will I watch again?
Yeah.
You know, and the one I've got, the 1 and 2, number 2 actually is the one that I've watched the most. Probably should put that as number 1, but it's not.
I kind of went that route too. I tried to go with which one would I rather watch? Like if I sat down right now, because I own them all, the only one I don't own is Doctor Strange, and it's only because I'm waiting for it to not be $30. That movie's still $30 everywhere, and I'm not willing to pay it. But as soon as I see it on sale, I'm gonna get. I have watched it on Netflix, but I don't physically own it. Right?
Yeah.
I own all the rest.
I want to get them, but like the box sets are like $100.
Yeah. Well, and I already own everything else. So I
$100
don't need
for
a
the
box
box
set,
set
right?
for all of them?
Or no, for like phase 1.
So,
Just phase 1. Okay.
so let's just say what we each have that is kind of our 17, and maybe we can like dial it in from there. I have for my 17 right now, I have Iron Man 3.
Same here.
Knew it.
You do?
Yes.
What do you have for number 17?
I mean, it was for 17. It was Thor 2. Wait, no, yeah. So it was Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor 2. I liked Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 to me is such a filler BS movie. We're already so aware by that point that Tony Stark is so self-indulged and going on this like own personal pity project that I couldn't stand that movie.
Yeah.
It's so much cry-assing in that movie.
I don't know. I really liked it.
You did?
I didn't.
I didn't like it because I thought it was so gimmicky as far as the suits. Right? It's like let's just throw in a million suits, and then people won't care about the character as much. It's I'm so sick of him.
To be fair, that's
by Iron
what
Man 3.
Tony Stark does, though.
No, it is true, and I think it does embody the downfall of him. Like he self-introverts so much in that movie, but that is not a joy to watch. Like there's nothing about that to watch again and again that makes me giggle like the little schoolgirl I want to be.
The original energy whip scene is about the only cool part.
Yeah, it's just like. There's so many. Well, and there's some cool ones where, like, at the end when he's in that fight and he's jumping from like suit to suit, and then he'll like bail out of one and like land in another as it wraps around him. Like, there's some cool moments like that, but it's not enough for me to elevate it.
It felt like a good reason for Tony Stark to be like, I need to kind of dial back on everything because he sees that kid and he realizes like, maybe this is what I want. You know, maybe I want to be a dad. Maybe I don't want to fight people.
Yeah, but clearly he doesn't.
Yeah, but it's so whiny to me. That's the biggest issue with Iron Man 3 is it's whiny.
You're whiny.
Well, what do you want to offer? What do you offer as a 17 instead then? You got to counterpoint with something. We already agree, so it's a tough battle, but do it.
Thor 1 was way more fillery than that, I think.
But I think you have to consider where it comes in the play of things. I don't think it's not as fillery to me because it's the first introduction of Thor as Iron Man 3 is.
Okay, that's a good point.
Like, it's the first time we see Thor, so it's the introduction to him. Mm-hmm. And I do think it does really drive home, because I don't think it's until Ragnarok that we as a viewing audience realize that Thor's a god. and none of this trivial Earth stuff matters. And it's not till Ragnarok that's really driven home, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything before that, we assume that he's on the same level as everybody else, and
As Earth as being the most important.
yeah, right. But really, for him, that's this menial thing. It's like, no. I already battled this realm, and we drank and celebrated, and Loki faked his death again last week, and like, there's so many other things going on than what's going on Earth, and you don't realize that in that first Thor.
Yeah.
So I give it a little bit of leeway, more leeway than I give Iron Man 3, for sure.
Okay. I should actually give you Iron Man 3 because it has been a while since I've seen it. And I know some of my opinions from when I was younger have been false.
For maybe it's like yesterday, right? Yeah.
So, for the benefit of the doubt, I'll give you Iron Man 3 just because it has been a while since I've seen it. And the more you're talking about it, the more I can be like, I can kind of see that. So.
Okay. So we're going to put Iron Man 3 at number 17.
I just put it down. I didn't want to watch that one again.
I don't really want to watch it either. And I don't want to watch Thor. I already did watch Thor. And I watched Hulk really recently. And they're not that great. They feel like filler movies. They really do. Without allowing them to
Now, do they feel dated more than they do what they are? Or is it just that bad of a movie?
No, I don't even want to say that. Again, it's hard to say that any of these are really bad, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Like, I love them all, but I would totally put these 3 on my last to watch list.
Okay.
They really are.
Yeah.
For me. So I love that we picked 17 at the same anyway. I think we're really going to get off on that as we go, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad we hit at least one that we
No, we
agree
hit
on.
2.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We all had one, right? Yeah.
Actually, what did you have for 18?
For 18, I had Thor.
Oh, same here.
Dark. Okay, so we all
Wait,
were
Thor
nailing
1 or
it.
Thor 2?
Thor 2.
Okay.
Because I agree. That is.
Yeah. So far,
So our bottom 3 are the same.
Hulk,
Yeah.
Thor 2.
I know we're not going to review on 16, though.
We might not.
We're not.
16. Let's see. What did I have? My next one was. I'm still Iron Man 2 and Thor. I really didn't like them. I mean, Black Panther.
The time's not going to matter on
It's
this.
just
Right?
not going to matter. It's once we fill this
It's
list.
going to be a 2-hour episode. So, what did you put for your 16? We'll give Jack the first crack this time.
15. My next one, still Iron Man 2. I thought the plot was bad. I thought the special effects were bad. I thought the dialogue was bad. I thought so much about it was just really like.
I can't do it. I can't give it to
I
you.
can't.
There's
I like
so many
Iron Man
things
2.
in Iron Man 2. It even relates to Netflix. Hammer Tech is brought up in the Netflix
yeah.
series. There's so many things about Iron Man 2 that culminate the MCU as a whole that I have to give it so much credit for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really, really do. I forgot about the Netflix tie-in. Like, that's even makes it more relevant.
What was the?
It's one of the only ones. Like the what was the Hammer Tech in it? It was the armor that hurt Luke Cage. It was made by Hammer Tech, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. Even we're always clamoring for something to relate to Netflix and MCU. That was one of the few things that did.
Yep.
I have to give it to Iron Man 2 for that. I do.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna campaign for it being on the right side.
Okay, no, I'm totally willing to barter. We're gonna each have to trade here. It's just how it's gonna have to work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give. You want my nomination for 16 then?
Sure.
I put Captain America: The First Avenger.
What?
Really?
Yep.
I can't. That movie
No.
was really important to me.
Okay.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna hate mine.
What is it?
Age of Ultron.
What?
I
Yeah.
agree.
No.
I agree.
I
No
do
way.
not like Age of Ultron at all.
Age of Ultron.
No, I refuse to put that low on the list.
It wasn't as. I don't know. It was just everyone was fighting for no reason. Like the whole
Yeah.
Thor, Hulk, or
It
Hulkbuster armor. It was like, whoa, look at Hulk. Like that was the point. of
it had the cool Hulkbuster armor. It had a couple of cool scenes in it, but it was
What did
really
it
the epitome of the Tony Stark whining, like you were complaining about.
Yeah, it's that culminating into affecting the whole team. Right?
Yes, it is.
But I love that about it.
Oh
I love
my
how
God, no.
I love how
Uh-uh.
personal. I love how personal Ultron gets, and I will even take it as far as Hawkeye. It gets so personal that they finally get introduced to Hawkeye's family. Like Hawkeye has a family.
Oh my God.
Nobody even knew
20-minute
that.
scene on the farm. Where
But I loved that. It was like these are. It made them feel real. It's like these are real people.
Okay. The part I liked the most was when Captain America almost lifted Thor's hammer, and Thor was like that look on his face. But there's just these moments of it, but the whole movie is just forgettable. Ultron was just like, I want to kill everyone because I'm Ultron. Like it just didn't feel like.
I love that the first Avengers is all of the Avenger guys
coming together.
they do come together and they're so ignorant, right? All of them, as to
Yeah.
what it means to be that team. And then by the second one, they're so cocky and arrogant. All of them. Like, they even have their little drunken party at the end, or in that beginning, right, that Ultron first breaks in on, where they're drinking and trying to lift the hammer, and it's a joke to them that you can even lift the hammer, right?
Yeah.
And Quicksilver
was
dies.
so tacked on.
But he dies in the movie.
I
He's the
didn't care.
only MCU character that's died of
He
any relevance.
Literally has like super speed, and he got shot by bullets.
I can't do it. I'm not good. I can't do it. I will barter any other movie to not make that number 16.
Fine,
Anyone.
Okay,
Thor,
Doctor
what,
Strange?
the first one? I would give you Thor, the first one, to not make that one that low.
What about you, Jeremiah?
Doctor Strange?
I like Doctor
I give you
Strange.
Doctor Strange because that's my next one. That's my 15.
That's my next one, too.
The visual effects-
So can we just shift Doctor Strange down to 16?
But like, it wasn't as. I felt like a more personal story of this like.
It was so rushed to me.
It was.
It was so rushed.
I
It was
know.
such a...
I thought the visual style was the most interesting out of any of the movies.
The one scene where they bend all the worlds, or two scenes. One where the first one where he like goes through all the worlds and they can't handle it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But the one where they bend all the worlds to him and they're traveling through all that. That was kind of cool. But
all the action scenes were really interesting.
That was so
and
Inception,
creative.
though, right?
Yeah,
it was just it was like
exactly.
redone. It was a filler movie to me.
Yeah.
It was an origin filler movie, Doctor Strange. I will say, for the amount of green screen that was in that, it wasn't as bad as Black Panther.
Yeah.
But that had a crap load of green screen in that
I would
movie.
almost argue that Black Panther. I would put Black Panther at 16.
Whoa.
It's not bad. It's just like was kind of.
I don't have Black Panther even
No.
close to that low.
I liked Black Panther more because I think Black Panther is more accepting of this superhero world
Not overrated.
in a nonchalant way.
It's
Yeah.
not like people are.
I'm going to tell you right now, Black Panther is my number 14, so it's not very far from this.
Black Panther is my number 11.
Okay, so you're higher. But I'm willing to barter Doctor Strange. I will do that.
I'll
I'm
do
okay
Doctor
with that.
Strange.
Doctor Strange
Strange?
is 16.
But the
What's your
fight
counter
scenes
offer? What's your
were
counter
so-
offer? You got to offer something.
Ant-Man.
No, not even
No.
close. No, Ant-Man
I like
is so
Ant-Man.
good.
Ant-Man's fun one to
I
watch.
like Ant-Man too.
Ant-Man-
Ant-Man was such a breath
Ant-Man
of
is
fresh
still-
air when we needed it, when that movie
Yes.
came out. I think that is Ant-Man's saving grace. It was the dying of everything in the MCU and such an implosion of the MCU, and then Ant-Man came out and we felt so lighthearted afterwards. That's why Ant-Man's great.
Dude, Thomas the Tank Engine brightens any mood.
Yeah, right? Okay, so Doctor Strange, we can settle on 16. And again, I really want to emphasize we're not saying any of these are bad, right? Because we're clearly arguing on number 16, right? That tells you how much we're struggling with this. So now we hit number 15, and I can't do Doctor Strange, so I have to immediately throw out there Captain America, the First Avenger, because that was my number... No, it wasn't! When that movie came out, that movie's great now, but when that movie came out, it was not good. When that movie came out, though, it was not what you wanted.
So badly because it was like Thor. It's like, he will be
I gotta
famous.
put
I'm like,
Thor there. Your first Thor.
The first Thor at 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have him at 14 right now.
It set up Thor.
Since we're shifting
but
down,
Thor
I mean-
is so boring and like.
It is. It's a very slow
For
movie.
me, though, the first introduction... Okay, let's say they only ever made one movie. You have Thor. They only ever made that one, right? The first one. They only ever made the one Captain America. Which one is better?
Captain America.
You still think Captain America is better?
Yes.
I think Captain
But when
America.
he evolves from this like awkward little guy. Into,
Yeah,
like,
total. I would watch.
Captain America is so awesome, and like the ending was kind of sad.
I mean,
I
yes,
mean, Nazis
Anthony
did the
Hopkins
dumb
as
It was
Odin
good
a
enough for them
badass.
to directly copy the ending in Wonder Woman, right? So,
The Nazis did this salute, and that was kind of funny. Or they weren't Nazis; they were Hydra. I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty funny.
I'm... Okay, so... Number 15, you guys want to make it what?
Thor.
I will give you 15 as Thor if we make 14 Captain America.
No,
13? I'm willing to give you max 13 on Captain America.
maybe let's keep bartering.
Can we barter that? Like, what do I get? What? How many other chips do I got to give you?
Well, I have a Captain America as 13.
No, fuck you. Sorry, I said it. I shouldn't have said that. I will.
Captain
I
America-
Winter
don't
Soldier's
like it.
so good.
I
Shut
hate
up.
Winter Soldier. Oh my
Dude,
god, I
Winter-
hate
No,
Winter
I
Soldier so
agree,
much.
I agree.
No.
Soldier was kind of
What? That's my number 2. That means my maximum bar rate on that is like 7 or 8. Okay. Oh my god, my brain already hurts.
I thought the barter, Marcus.
Oh.
Your turn.
There's this part of my
Put
brain
Thor up
where all the
there.
nerd is
It's
kept
Thor.
and it's about to explode.
It's Thor. Thor's going at number 15. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Alright.
I'm willing to give it to you. I think that's fair. I do think it's fair because I think it's not an accurate representation of Thor,
Yeah.
but I still stand by that. I love how naive he is to be on Earth and how insignificant really that
Bring me
movie
another
feels when you compare it to the other ones, right? Which I also think, to be fair, is the way you have to think of Captain America. You can't think of that Captain America movie as standing on its own because he's a completely different Steve Rogers from that movie to any other, even at the end of Avengers, that first one.
Yeah, and if you got froze for that long, you would too.
No, I get it. Okay. No, I'm willing to do it. Let's do it.
Captain America made me more excited for for the Avengers than any other movie I saw.
Well, that was the point. It's called Captain America, the first Avenger.
But like, I don't know, this is what a superhero movie can be. It doesn't have to be weird and like either boring or like everything was boring. Captain America was fun, exciting. World War II, like the way it encapsulated the environment. Was
I think
so
Captain
good.
America felt like a comic book when you were watching it.
Yeah,
I will give you that. I will give you
That
that.
is what I appreciate.
I have to concede to that. Yes, and it felt like an old comic book.
Yes, which, to be fair, I'm sure we've discussed this before, that my comic book readings existed from the box. And I'm talking like a agricultural box, not a nice,
Not a comic box.
not a comic
Yeah.
box, like an agricultural box of things that were just tossed in there of comics from the 60s.
Yeah.
right.
I will totally give you that it does feel like an old comic, and I give it credit for that. Okay.
Avengers 2 or Iron Man 2 are going next.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're just. They don't cut. They don't make the cut for a lot of other things.
So you already took Thor from me.
Yeah.
Tell me you
What
didn't have
else?
that as one.
No, I had Thor as number 10. It was the bottom of my 10 side.
Okay.
Because I like the way that I like the transition of Thor better than I like that initial introduction of Cap. Maybe that's how I should say it. I like the initial introduction of Thor better than I do of Captain America. Captain America made a bigger transition where Thor was always Thor. It just didn't make sense as to who he was until we saw him later, right? It was
Okay,
like,
that makes sense.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
But then
Yeah.
but
again,
I
that
still...
made it feel like, oh, that's Thor. Why is he here?
But I was like, that
Captain
said,
America,
though...
like, oh my God, Captain America is with Bruce Banner. Like, I don't know. Captain America felt more important to the world.
I don't understand how you can care so much about that first Captain America movie and not like Winter Soldier.
I don't know
Winter
why.
Soldier is the going from a boy to a man.
I get that, but it didn't have the feeling that the first movie had
Yeah.
at all.
Oh, totally.
Ash,
But that was
no,
the difference.
Yeah.
You went from him in the, what was that, like the 50s,
Yeah.
right? 50s Captain America to all of a sudden culture shock.
Became a man.
No, the end of Avengers. Yeah, the last 5-10 minutes of
Yeah,
Avengers.
when he became the leader of everyone,
Yes.
he was confident, like that Captain America. And then the next
Yeah.
one, it just was missing a little bit. So it wasn't a bad movie at all. It just didn't feel like great to me.
I'm gonna totally I'm gonna let
Let's
this
see.
happen because I have some really strong arguments for I think the top 3 that I think I'm gonna need to save my weight for.
Well, no, I'm just saying that as far as Captain America went, and like I said, this is as far as movies that I want to watch again.
Yeah.
And this is
So
why I made the
Captain
list.
America 2 this is what we're doing. As next,
What?
As 14.
As 14?
Yeah.
As Winter
What?
Soldier? No.
Oh, I thought that's what we were arguing.
No.
No,
We're still
no.
talking
We're still
first
talking
Captain
15.
America.
Oh my God. We need
No. 15's fine. We can leave it as Thor. I think we've decided at that.
Avengers
I think it's
2.
fair enough. I think
Yeah,
Thor is fair
but I'm
enough.
just saying, I'm arguing for the Captain America part. I mean, the first Captain America,
You don't want it as 14.
no.
Not
No,
at all.
no,
It's
I've
way
got the-
higher for you.
I got that as 9.
Captain America for me, let's see. 1, 2,
Captain America
3,
First Avenger, I have that as
5,
9.
6,
I-
7. It's 7
But-
for me right now.
I
It's,
appreciate what it represents, but I don't. It's not one I go back and watch. I guess
But
is
that's
what
the
I have
thing,
to
is
say.
I watched that one like 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, it's one of the ones that I just put on and kept watching again
Yeah,
and
no,
again.
me too.
Yeah.
I love,
And
I
enjoyed
the
it.
Star-Spangled Man with a Plan song. When at first he's all
That was
awkward,
hilarious.
And he's like uppercutting Hitler, but it's all fake. And he's like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be a soul. Like, I don't know. Just there's so much about that movie that it's like,
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
like freaking, what was that? That Oh, what was that? It was that 30-minute short that was out there on YouTube.
With who?
One with Thor and
No, it had the laser raptors and the Mecha Hitler
Kung Fury.
Oh yeah, Kung Fury.
You like that, but you don't like.
Okay, those are
Yeah,
not the same.
they're very different.
I
think.
know, but I'm just,
Yeah, Kung Fury, #1 of the Marvel movies.
We're
No.
on 14. Okay. So
Alright.
you guys won't let me put Captain America there. I have as 14 Black Panther.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther.
yeah,
Black Panther. As
I've got Black Panther as 11 for me.
I'd rather watch Black Panther than Iron Man 2.
have you watched Iron Man 2?
Have.
Iron Man. I will
Every
say I was
time.
in the same boat as you on Iron Man 2 until I watched it again. And there are such key points in Iron Man 2
Okay.
that everything branches out from that movie, right? That's my biggest argument for that. Like
Okay, I want to say I
the
didn't appreciate.
MCU tree starts for me at Iron Man 2.
MCU Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yggdrasil.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway. No, I say Iron Man 2. I obviously saw Iron Man first. It was so on it. I liked it, but Iron Man 2 made me appreciate the first Iron Man more. That's what that did for me.
I could see that. Yeah.
I totally appreciated it. Went back and watched the first Iron Man, and then ended up watching the first Iron Man a few more times
Yeah.
because of that.
Can we all agree that the Iron Man movies at least go Iron Man 1, 2, and 3? Like they don't. There's
clearly.
no other order for
Clearly,
those.
yes.
Jack's stuck on that 3.
Iron
He
Man
wants to
1
go 1, 3, and 2.
Yeah. Iron Man 1 was the best, though. Yeah, I can agree on
I
that.
would totally agree.
I need to watch. See, the thing is,
Iron
I
Man
wanna
1
watch
was
Iron
that
Man
like
again.
cult. It
What's
was
it
that
on
like
Netflix?
comic shock for all of us. That wow,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they nailed this guy, and we grew with him as Iron Man. Like we watched that movie at the same time, going, "Is he going to be Iron Man? What's it going to be like when he fires that first boot?" And he did it, right? Like we got to experience that moment.
Yeah.
For me, that was the Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man movie where he shoots that web for the first time and looks at the ground and just goes, "Tally ho," and swings off and bangs into the sign, right? That's what Spider-Man did the first time. We want to see those moments, right? It sold those. So that sits pretty high.
Yeah.
But I
Instead of
think-
going to Iraq, just blasting.
Yeah, I think that
To be clear, I have the first Iron Man as 5. Just so you know.
that's hilarious. So do I.
All right.
I have it as like 6, but I can.
We're pretty close. I'm going to say Black Panther belongs towards the end because it is the worst representation of Black Panther that we'd seen up till that point. I think that he's so much better in Civil War, which is the first time we see
Well,
him.
to be clear, Black Panther wasn't about Black Panther. Black Panther was about everybody around Black Panther.
That's very true. It's more,
It's about Wakanda.
yes, very much so. It's not so much about Black Panther. But it had none of the appealing qualities that Black Panther had in Civil War. Right? Like, he was so
Boy,
cat-like and
but
awesome
putting
in
Black
Civil
Panther
War.
at 14, though?
But I think it's the same reason we put Thor there.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
No,
It's the worst representation of
I
Thor.
don't want to.
I think it's the worst
Yeah.
representation of Black Panther. It really is. To be
what
fair,
they're
it's
doing
not a
is-
movie about Black Panther, but it's called that,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
All right. Yep,
Doing it.
it's done. Okay.
Well,
Let's move on to 13.
you can send the hate mail to.
Do Nerdbuzzed, right?
It's a little too. I don't understand why it's so popular. mean,
I don't
do,
really get
but
it either.
Yeah.
I don't really get it either. And again, it's not a bad movie. I really don't think any of them. Let's put Hulk. I really stand by that. Even the
Hulk,
MCU doesn't acknowledge it, so it's that bad. But really, everything else on this list is we're clearly fighting, right?
Yeah.
It's that they're not bad. So,
Iron Man 2.
God, he's just hung up on that, huh? He's just
my
going to keep
God.
fighting for that.
I've got Iron Man 2 as 12. For me.
Okay, you know what?
You're
Avengers
closer
2.
to me. I have it as
Avengers
8.
2.
What do you have it?
Avengers 2 is next.
I guess it moves to 9 because we moved to Thor. You have Avengers what?
Avengers 2.
Really?
Age of Ultron. It just
As far as I'm concerned, Avengers Age of Ultron is better than Infinity War. You guys are going to hate that, but that is so true.
No, it's not.
I stand so firm that Infinity War is not an Avengers movie. The worst thing about Infinity War is that it's not an Avengers movie.
It's the everything movie.
But it's not Avengers.
It's
There-
Avengers
when
and
we-
everyone else. That's awesome.
When we get to Infinity War, there's so much Avengers drama that we're all sitting on the edge of our seats to resolve. Zero of it gets resolved in Infinity War. The only moment where a shred of that happens is that conversation with Rhodes. That's it. The rest of that movie is zero Avengers.
Yeah, but that means the next movie is going to be all Avengers.
Maybe,
that's
but
nuts.
now we're going to travel through time again. That's only if. So I'm willing to give it. I'm willing to go back in time and change my numbers if you're right. But I'm saying we don't know that right now, so we have to base everything on what we know.
Because everyone else is dead.
Yeah, in the end, it is the core Avengers left, but but you're basing it on hype films, right? Because we don't know. Spoilers.
Really,
There you
I
go.
had to look for that one a lot. Okay. All right. Number
Spoilers
13.
for movies not even out
I'm
yet.
not willing to give that up that early.
13. I'll give you Captain America there.
Okay, I would take it. I'll take Captain America as 13 because I would have put it lower. So I'm willing. Captain America is an easy gimme. I feel like we're like this is like the NFL draft, right?
Oh my god, you have no idea.
It so is.
I think we do have an idea. Yeah, this is exactly what it's. Fine. Just because you're such a bitch. You're such a rat.
I think Avengers 2 is better than Captain America.
Oh my god.
No?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I think Captain America belongs
Okay,
below
probably
Avengers
if
2
I
at
watch
least.
it again, but Avengers 2 I really think should be number 12 because it just felt like, oh, let's fight. We gotta fight. Ultron's cool. Whoa, wouldn't it be cool if he was Jarvis?
My next one would have been Infinity War.
Nope. Infinity War is my number 3. So.
Really?
I'm
It's
fighting.
that high?
Yeah.
Wow. To
Thor-
me, Infinity War is nothing but eye candy with zero substance.
Thor 3, Guardians 2, Infinity War.
I wish that Infinity War would have been called Thanos, and that was it. Because that's all that movie was. It's the best part of that movie, and I love it for what it did with that. But it's not as relevant to everything going on.
Isn't that what
You could...
Would you rather have Thanos be underdeveloped and underutilized? No, because coming up to the movie,
I
we're
wish
all talking about
there
how
would have been a
Thanos is
balance. That's my argument there, is that
cool. There was a balance. I
don't-
wanted to see more of Thanos, but we also saw a bunch of like everyone else stuff, right? And Thanos, when he came into a scene, it was like, oh god, he's here, right?
I think that Infinity War is the only MCU movie you're required to have watched other MCU movies to now enjoy.
And he is the
It's the only one.
Yes.
Which I think has to knock it down on the list.
And no, that's-
you have to watch all these before it to enjoy
That
to
makes it
appreciate this
awesome.
one.
Yeah, but okay, so we're nerds,
Yeah.
and that is the ultimate nerd thing
Yeah.
right there. Is that hey, you've done all this. Dude, we are paying you back for this by giving you this
And
now.
Thanos is the best
We're giving
villain.
you-
He's
we're giving
the
you-
best villain in the MCU.
I still stand pretty firm on though that all of those things that make that movie good and awesome as a nerd are missed out on because none of those things are addressed. Yes, you need to have watched all those movies before, but we're going to zero acknowledge anything that happened in there other than the blatant obvious.
It's not going
Like
number
any
two.
of the
but, you know,
subtext.
It has
Yeah,
to go
I
on the
can't-
left side.
No,
Yeah.
I'm willing to let that one shift, but for me that is not a number 3. There's no way Infinity War is that high.
I like it.
I would
Sorry.
much rather watch the other ones. I even watched it twice. How many times did you guys watch it? Once?
I've watched it once so
Yeah.
far.
I
Yeah.
would like to watch it again.
I don't know. It's not that good. I think, especially looking at it from not an MCU
You know what?
movie, but from just a movie. If
I
you just
think
look
that-
at that as a core movie, it's not as good.
I think when Thanos did the thing, rather than you just dying, half your brain.
My brain died. Yeah.
Oh, his thing was
The
that.
nerd half, right? Again, that I've just got this gaping hole under my hat.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. It's an origin movie. That's what you don't like about it. It's establishing Thanos.
But Thanos is my favorite part of the movie.
I get that. Doesn't matter. It's still
awesome.
My
it's an
biggest
origin movie form.
issue with Avengers
Christ.
Infinity War is that it's called Avengers. When we went into Avengers Infinity War, we were left on so many Avengers cliffhangers, right? That we didn't know what was going to happen with the Avengers. They were this tattered team that was broken, and then all of a sudden Avengers Infinity War came out, and I thought they're going to have to come together now to fight Thanos, which might happen in the next one. I totally give you that, but we can't base our decision on that because we don't know. that one might come out and be the worst movie in the MCU.
It might.
Right? You
It very well
totally
could
have,
be.
if you're thinking it's going to be number 1, you have to also acknowledge it hasn't happened and it could be number 20, right?
It could be. You're absolutely right.
You can't
So,
base your opinion on
Let's
this
talk
one
about what
on the
number
next one.
12 is.
My 12, since we skip Infinity War, I have Spider-Man.
I got Iron Man 2.
I didn't watch
Iron Man
that.
2.
I actually haven't seen Spider-Man yet because it's not on Netflix.
Spider-Man has really awesome moments that I think are amazing. And I think those are mainly done by Michael Keaton. I think he's a phenomenal... The moment when he realizes that his daughter is dating Spider-Man and they're driving in that car and you get him as the dad but also as the Vulture in that same moment, that's phenomenal. To me, that's as impactful as when, spoiler alert out there, when Spider-Man dies in Infinity War. That scene in that movie... To me, that is like as impactful across the board.
And when you told me that was ad-lib, that was amazing.
Yeah, I'd heard that was ad-lib. That was just what he did to sell that scene. And I think that there are moments... yeah, right? But I feel like he had those moments also in Homecoming, and he really does deserve credit for that. But it's not this awesome Spider-Man movie. It just isn't.
No.
I didn't see it, so I'll be
Yeah.
willing to put that wherever.
I'll concede that one.
All right.
You'd say Spider-Man number 12?
Spider-Man number 12.
That is what I have on here without any adjusting. As I have
I'll
Spider-Man as
concede
number
that
12.
one.
All right. Because you want to fight later. We're going to fight when we get... This is going to get intense. I love it. So, we're almost done with our right side of the column. Number 11.
Avengers 2 or Iron Man 2?
Jack. I have Guardians 2.
You
That's
guys,
my
Guardians
11.
2?
Yeah.
What?
I love Guardians 2.
Kurt Russell? Oh my god, what is wrong with you?
I don't...
Shut down.
What happened in Guardians 2 that affected anything after it?
How more impactful can you get? They blew up a planet.
It's not impactful to the universe, it's impactful to the characters.
But what changed in the characters? The next time you see them is Infinity Gauntlet. What relevant thing happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that affected those characters in Infinity Gauntlet?
More music.
Music? Even that I feel like they copped out because you got the Zune. Now we get we're never going to get a tape again. Right? I give it credit for it. It's the last movie we're ever going to get a tangible tape cassette soundtrack for. Probably. So I give it credit for that. But I think after that movie, that part's out of it.
It's true. I didn't think about that.
Because now the Zune thing's in there with 3,000 songs.
300.
300 songs?
300.
At least give me like a Spotify or something, right, that I can go to that is his Zune list. I would so love that. But I think that part of it's done.
No, they're just going to sell Zines again.
I think I have a hard time with Guardians of the Galaxy
Disney
2
bought Microsoft.
because it's a swan song for me. I think it is. I think it's the end of an era. And that first one was so good. I'll tell you right now, I have Guardians as number 3.
I got Guardians
the first
number
one.
2.
Yeah,
Guardians
that's
is
way
number-
up there for me. That movie was so good.
I've watched that movie so many times. I've
Yeah,
probably watched
I
that movie
really
more
like
than
that
any
movie.
other MCU movie.
I can't put Guardians 2 on the right side.
Okay, what do we want to shift then?
Iron Man 2.
I'll give you Iron Man 2.
I'll give you Iron Man 2. Let's do it. Make it Iron Man 2. Can we at least agree, though, that Iron Man 2 is... It is the foundation for the MCU. It is.
Yeah.
It's the movie that establishes that there is future movies to care about.
I'll give you that, yeah.
Awesome.
I think it is.
And one of the 2 is gone.
Oh my god, we have half a list done. Let me drink some beer.
Avengers 2.
I love that he's going to keep fighting for it. My Avengers 2 is... I will tell you, I have Avengers 2 as number 7. That's where I ended. That's on my initial list. I'd put it at number 7.
I'll go with number there.
What? You're willing to
It's
just
10.
skip to 7? Oh, 10.
No, 10.
You want to put Avengers 2 as 10? Okay.
Okay, let's think about some other things. Ant-Man.
No.
I
have Ant-Man as number 6.
Actually, I have Ant-Man as 10.
Really?
He is my 10.
You think that Avengers
Ant-Man
2
was
is better
good,
than
but it
Ant-Man?
was a little
No.
fillery.
Yeah, you got Avengers 2 way down there.
Oh, okay.
Ant-Man 10, Avengers 2.
I hate to say it, but I might have to let you argue while I pee.
Oh my god.
Well, how are we going to argue with you about Ant-Man?
Well, what do you want to make number 10? You want to make it? You both want to make it Ant-Man?
No.
No. Tell me why it's not okay that's
No, I thought we were doing Avengers 2.
I thought you said Ant-Man was your 10.
I'm more willing to give up Avengers 2 as number 10 than I am
Fine.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Avengers 2, number 10.
Sounds good.
All right. Now this one I start to get covered up. I don't like this. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, well, no. I had Age of Ultron down at 16. I'm more than willing to give that there.
Yeah. Okay. Avengers 2. Okay, so now we have the good ones gone. Captain America 2.
Captain America 2.
Winter Soldier.
I'm very okay with putting Captain America 2
Winter
at 9.
Soldier.
Winter Soldier 9.
No. No. Winter Soldier, I think, as far as standalone movies, if they only made one MCU movie, that is like one of the tops for me. That movie's so solid from the beginning to the end.
Not.
Yes, it is. The intro scene when he's like just taking out people on that boat, and he is the Captain America we've been waiting for up till that point.
Yeah, in the intro scene.
Yeah, but that's awesome. And then he suddenly realizes now that he's living in this modern world, not the world from the 50s, and now he has to deal with that issue. And he just busts out a shield. That whole elevator scene, that's kick-ass, dude.
Yeah, the 3-second, whatever.
That's awesome. What about when he meets Winter Soldier on the roof, throws the shield, and Winter Soldier just one-handed catches it, throws it back, Cap catches it with his gut, and slides back 3 feet. And then there's the reveal that it's Bucky. Like, there's all that happens through the whole thing.
Everyone knew that. Like, way before, everyone knew that.
Yeah, but I could give you all those arguments for Infinity War. You knew every single thing that was going to happen in that movie before it happened. Yes, you did.
They made it really seem like Vision was like, I don't know, like watching it, I'm like, I knew all the spoilers before I went into it because I was a little like, because after Black Panther I was a little fatigued, but like watching it, knowing everything was just this feeling of like I've never felt that like depressed, but in like a good way because just knowing what's gonna happen.
But okay, so let's break down because the Russo dudes, right? They made Infinity War, they made Winter Soldier, and they made Civil War. You really think Infinity War is the best movie they've made out of those three?
I think Civil War is better.
You don't think Winter Soldier is better than Civil War?
No.
I think Civil War is better than Winter Soldier.
You do? I think Winter Soldier is the most true movie out of those three.
Civil War made Bucky's it better established his Russian connection thing. It made it a lot more impactful. It really delved into the still conflicting relationship with him and Captain America.
I can't help but say this blows my mind that you guys are willing to be so adamant about the first Captain America.
TM?
Yeah. You're so hung up on that's a good movie, which I can only side with you on that because of the transition he made. And so much of that transition is in Winter Soldier. It is.
I don't know. I just didn't have any desire to go back and watch Winter Soldier again.
Who was the villain?
Really?
Winter Soldier? Wasn't it Hydra?
It's Shield. Shield is the villain.
Hydra, and I was like,
No, Shield is Winter Soldier is, I guess, but ultimately it's basically Shield. Winter Soldier is Shield imploding on itself.
The whole Hydra thing felt really tacked on. I was just like, Hydra, I can't remember anything about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not willing to give up Winter Soldier. It's my number 2, dude. I'm not bartering 9 for 2.
Oh my god.
Ant-Man.
I would give up Ant-Man over Winter Soldier any day.
Ant-Man is a good movie.
Yeah.
It felt like a little what's the point?
I think Ant-Man's awesome because I want to say just really across the board that I don't know who did the first Captain America, but I like that the Russos did Winter Soldier and Civil War. Those are Captain America movies. Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and Wasp, same directors, right?
Okay.
What have I always been saying about same thing with Avengers 1 and 2. Those are Whedon movies, right? I've always been saying that they need to approach these superhero movies like they do the comic books. Let the writer and the artist do that character and do it for whatever that arc is, and then they can be done. And then let the other writer and the artist do theirs, so you get this little different interpretation.
But it's still kind of consistent.
But it's still all with you. Still have to follow. It still has to be canon, right? But at the same time, it has its own vibe because it's done by this different group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Marvel has done a really good job of slowly implementing that. Like, because they are the same directors doing these same movies, right?
Yeah.
So I give them a lot of props for that. I'm fine with the Ant-Man as number 9. Number 8, oh God, Iron Man.
We're high up. Iron Man's a good movie, but in the end, he just fights a bigger Iron Man.
I agree with you that it has so many classic tropes of a origin movie. It's just so important.
Number 8 is a high spot on the list, but in the end, he just fights a bigger, slower.
It's still halfway though, right? Like this is still, it's still halfway on the list. We're into the best half now.
Yeah. So okay, I would say Iron Man number 8.
I'm willing to do that. Are you willing to do that? Where do you have Iron Man on your list?
5.
I have it at 5 also. So we're giving up 3. We're gonna fight, dude. When we get down to 1, 2, and 3, this is gonna be a battle.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's tough, huh? I will say one thing: the fact that the MCU, that we all feel as passionate as we do,
awesome.
like independently about each movie,
I'll give
is
up
a credit.
I'll give up Infinity War. You have persuaded me on Infinity War. I'll give up Infinity War for this.
No.
I'm totally cool with that. I would love to have already given it up because I prefer Ant-Man over Infinity War. I prefer Avengers 2 over Infinity War. Please put that in as soon as we can. That movie's great. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it is so dependent on every movie that's already up
I
there.
will give you, and that's part of the magic of it.
But it wouldn't have any magic without what we've already got.
That's the point. Is that it's a culmination of so much.
I'll tell you what. If in the second one, because we got General back from Hulk, right? Mm-hmm. He's in there in that quick scene and he's pissed. If he decides to make himself Red Hulk finally, right? And that happens, Infinity War gets moved way the hell down. Because that would never have happened without even Hulk. Right? Like, they made the serum to turn the bad guy in Hulk into another Hulk to fight. If that general now is Red Hulk because of Hulk, you can't put Infinity War that high on the list. It would have happened without even Hulk now.
What you're talking about. What are we talking about? What serum?
The serum. You don't remember Hulk? The bad guy.
I can't remember what his name is.
You remember in Infinity War when they meet Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
He's talking to the holograms. The main general dude that's there that he's talking to, that's like, this'll be a whatever, blah, 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 don't cut me off. And Rhodes just like waves his hand and cuts him off. That dude eventually is Red Hulk.
Yeah.
If that all dates back to the Incredible Hulk movie, and they use that same serum that the bad guy uses in Avengers 4 to make Red Hulk, you have to now adjust our list because of that, right? Like, even Hulk had an impact on Infinity War.
Well, I mean, he's Hulk, so... I mean, I like the fact
No, but that's not the Hulk. That's the point.
I kind of liked that he was Bruce Banner. It made a good case. Like, there are times when it's like, put on the goddamn cape. But for Bruce Banner, I was like, that makes sense. It was the one time Hulk got beat.
Yeah.
Like, that was...
And I mean...
Well, and to be fair, he came off of the same sort of feeling from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Right? He already was beat.
But then he became like... Yeah, okay. Point is, number 8, I'll give you Infinity War as number 7 if number 8 we can have Iron Man.
Ooh, no, I gotta have Iron Man above it. There. I can't give...
It's so important.
I can't have Iron Man...
And I love it every time I watch it, right? It's the pure ignorance of the MCU itself, of Marvel Studios making its first movie, right? That shines in that movie.
Yeah.
It's the Sandlot of MCU movies. It just is.
Yeah. I'll give you Infinity War, Iron Man.
You'll go 8.
7.
Okay, I'm willing to do that. I would do that because we're actually just kind of shifting my list down a couple.
Sure.
Right.
So we got 7 and 8. Oh my God, this is gonna get intense.
And here I go.
We better have been recording this the whole time. If it turns out at the end we aren't recording this, I'm gonna be so pissed.
You're fired.
Yeah. We'll just flash the list real quick. It'll be the quickest episode ever.
Yeah. Here's the list. We already discussed it.
We're all going to stress sleep tonight. Okay, now we're on.
It's better than the sleep I got last night.
Now we're on number 6. So that's tough for me because we've shifted my list around a lot now.
I've got the original Avengers as my original 6.
No way. I'm not willing to give that up. I'm going to say Guardians 2. Throw Guardians 2 there.
I'll put Guardians 2 there.
Guardians
I'll
2
easily
is
put
not
Guardians
that
2.
good of a movie. It's great, but it's such a filler for Guardians.
I think it was really important in Peter Quill's life.
No way. Guardians 2.
I don't know. It established strife within the group, and they had to come back
Yeah.
and fight back from
Yeah.
that.
But they already did that in the first one.
But not
The
as
whole
much.
first movie is them
was
not agreeing and
establishing
now
them.
becoming... It was Avengers, basically.
Yeah, okay, the whole first movie was then not agreeing, and then all of a sudden it has this scene at the very end where they're flying off. So where are we going, Guardians?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then still, there wasn't enough, like...
But I mean, this one, they had like...
I'm willing to
Battle
take
of
it from
Planets.
11 to 6 because it has Kurt Russell in it. Okay? Come on.
I don't know. Well, 5...
What are you going to do? You going to make number
5
1
Captain-
Guardians and number 2 Guardians 2?
5 Captain America 2. If we put Guardians 2 at 6, 5 has to be Captain America 2.
Oh, God. That means you're going to put Civil War above Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Infinity War, I think, though. It's pure eye candy, and I think Civil War is also. It has some key moments that happen in it, but it's an eye candy fest.
That was really important for the breaking up of the group.
Yeah, but now you're coming back to Infinity War. Why was any of it important if they're never going to address it?
What if they address it we don't know that yet.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I'm
Infinity
saying. You
War
can't
one-
base...
That's
about
where
Infinity
he
War-
gets the cell phone.
The conflict...
But he never even uses it.
The conflict in Infinity War...
Banner picks it up and goes,
so
"Oh,
big.
I'll call Steve."
I know.
Tony never uses
The
it.
conflict
They
in
never
Infinity
talk
War
once in
is
Infinity
so
War.
big that they cannot connect at all. They literally have no time. And that's what makes Infinity War so crazy is like, we have this conflict, but we just can't even think about it right now. Because the whole movie is like this frantic race to stop Thanos, and they don't. They die.
Yeah. And they acknowledge that while they're doing it, too.
Infinity War should be a little higher, but it's fine.
Civil War is hands down better than Infinity War. Don't you think?
Yeah, I'll give that.
We have to at least agree that.
War higher, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
I like
man.
Civil War.
I know, we're getting into the real tough zone here.
What I like... Okay. Infinity War had a great introduction of Spider-Man to the
Avengers
MCU.
number 6.
What?
No,
No, that's Civil
I mean
War.
Civil War, I mean.
I totally agree. It's
And
one of the best
that is
Spider-Man moments.
That right there is what I like the best about Civil War.
Is Spider-Man.
Is the introduction of Spider-Man to the MCU. They did a great job of introducing him.
To me, my favorite part of Civil War is definitely the splitting of the teams.
Yeah.
I love that Rhodes basically becomes crippled in their squabble.
God,
It makes
that was a depressing...
it was a super
Yeah, it was.
intense scene. It really was, and it made their such their personal issues that happened in that, which I think elevated from Avengers 2. It made them seem so trivial when the impacts of reality hit them as a team in the movie, right? Like we watched it as people watching it, but they experienced it as actors in the movie, which I don't think is easy to do. I'm super stoked that we're putting it above Infinity War. I'm going to say that right off the bat. So wherever this falls, I'm so glad it's above Infinity War.
Okay, what about Avengers 1?
No,
Pretty good.
I'll give you Winter Soldier.
That's number 6?
Yeah, I would give that over Avengers any day.
Okay.
If you're willing to do that, I think Winter Soldier, I'm going to say this right now, that a Captain America Winter Soldier is by far a better movie than Civil War, but I'm willing to do it. Thanks, Jack.
All right, Jeremiah, do you agree?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's not easy, huh?
No.
Is this turning out to be a little tougher than you thought?
No.
No, you knew this is what we were in store for.
Right.
I knew I was going to have to listen to a lot of your banter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am willing
To be
put-
fair, I've seen all of these multiple times.
I'm willing to put Guardians 2 at 5.
Okay,
I'll do that.
Do it. Yeah, I think as soon as we can get that up there, please do
I've
it.
got Guardians 2 as my 4, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that great of a movie.
High in movies, but it's fine.
like I said, I base this off of what I'm watching again.
Yeah.
And I watched that one so many
But
times.
also, to be fair, you just like Guardians.
Yes.
So if there was a Guardians 4 and 5, they'd also be on that 10 side. Because you love Guardians.
Maybe not 5.
Okay.
I gotta space other ones out. There's other movies I like a lot, too.
So we're getting down to the end.
Avengers number 4.
What?
I'll do that. I'll do the Avengers as 4.
No.
Avengers 4.
Nope. No way.
Civil
First
War.
Avengers.
I would totally give you Civil War over that. Civil War is my number 4.
Okay. Jeremiah?
Okay. I'll do Civil War. Because I got Civil War
This is...
is directly underneath Avengers.
This is... We're gonna all leave with black eyes after this.
Civil War was in the spot of Captain America. All right. The top 3.
Dun dun. dun.
So what are we left with?
Thor 3, Guardians 1, Avengers.
Thor 3, Guardians, and Avengers. I have to say,
That's the order I put it in.
can we all agree that that's a solid top 3?
That is
Can we
Solid
do that?
top
That
three.
is
Yes.
solid top 3.
Actually,
For as
can we
much
do
as we
Thor
disagree
Dark
everything so far, I totally concur that is a really solid 3.
Yeah.
That really is a solid 3.
I would say Thor 3.
2 of those were already in my top 3
2 of those as well for me.
for you too.
Thor 3 and Guardians 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Avengers 1, number 3.
I will do Avengers 1, number 3.
For then what's 2?
2,
You
I've
gotta-
got Guardians as 2.
Yeah.
I have Guardians as 3. But we already got rid of Winter Soldier, so my 2's gone.
What do you have for 2?
I think Guardians was better than Avengers.
Oh my god. I struggle. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Avengers is the movie that I've seen way more than any of the rest. I've seen that movie like 20 times, and that's not a joke.
And that's what I've done with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy did.
I'm willing to give it to you as number 2, but I cannot make that number 3. To me, that means so much. That the only reason Captain America that you guys love so much is any sort of relevance is because of Avengers.
Okay.
That moment at the end when he's on the bridge and suddenly is the captain, and Iron Man's like, "Captain, you call the shots," and he does that. Come on, like that's the first time that he is the captain. The whole team grows in that movie. It's the reason why Tony is so self-introverted and scared through all the rest of the movies.
Thor 3, Avengers, Guardians.
I put Guardians above Thor. I'm going to say Thor number 3.
Oh, man, that's my number 1.
Yeah, that's my number 1 too.
Wow, really? You guys like that more than Guardians and Avengers?
I loved Ragnarok, man.
Really?
I'm sorry, but that
It
whole...
made Hulk cool again.
Yeah, that whole Hulk-Thor battle was
It made
amazing.
It made Thor cool.
Ragnarok is the Winter Soldier of Thor movies.
It
To
is.
me, that's what it is. But you guys stuck that. You guys.
It's number 1.
Really? That's your number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. I had Ragnarok all the way at number 9.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
I love it, and I think it's great. I just think that there's more relevance for movies before it.
Iron.
I'm talking about... okay, yes, Thor Ragnarok did not make it even close to number 1 in my first list.
Yeah.
But...
I love it. I've already seen it like 4 times, and I think it's great. It has so many great moments. It's a buddy flick. It's totally Lethal Weapon. Like, they sold it as that ahead of time, and I was like, how are they going to do that? But that's what it is. It totally is.
I can, now that I think about it, I don't think it's my number 1. I think Guardians might be my number 1.
Yeah,
God,
I think
haven't
I
seen
put
Avengers
I
in a while.
would trade Guardians for it.
Thor 3.
Guardians, let me see. I think Guardians is my number 2.
I would put
It
Guardians.
has been moved to my number 2 because we don't like Winter Soldier. But
I don't. I'm sorry.
Winter Soldier. I just.
if we
watched
make,
it, and I was like,
so you want to make Guardians number 1? That's the best movie in the MCU. If you took away all the rest of the movies,
oh God.
the one you're left with
And
is
see, that's
Guardians,
the
and that's
thing, it's
okay
like-
with you,
That's a really hard. This is hard.
right?
Guardians is the one that came out of the left field the hardest. Guardians is the one that I had absolutely no idea what it was.
Established a team.
But I
what
feel
they
the same
were.
way about Ant-Man. Ant-Man hit me almost with the same impact.
No, Ant-Man didn't hit me with the same impact like that though.
Villain was really weak.
I completely agree that when I came out of the movie theater after watching Guardians, my cheeks hurt because I was laughing and smiling that much. It was such, to me, it's better than Thor because it's also a buddy flick.
I want to put
but
Infinity
it's
War
better.
at the top because no Marvel film has had a villain that good.
What was this?
Infinity War. I put that at the top because no other Marvel film had a good villain like that.
I don't think so at all. I think Infinity War is great, but nothing in Infinity War matters at all without our whole list that's already there.
Cool thing about it. I don't get why.
But now if you took all those movies away and you just had Infinity War, that movie's not as awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's riding the coattails of all the rest of these movies.
But it does it in a good way that like rewards you for being a fan.
I'm not saying Infinity War's bad. I'm just saying it has zero substance without the substance that all the rest of the movies put before it. Right? It's all implied substance, which I think is amazing. It's phenomenal what Marvel has done to create that. But there's no way. I'm not moving Infinity War. That's already too high on the list for me as it is. We're stuck with Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Ragnarok.
God, this is hard.
So we're going back to impactful then.
Impactful? I think Guardians and Thor 3 were more impactful.
No, Avengers was incredibly impactful. The first Avengers movie?
Yeah.
That was
but, like,
incredibly impactful to the universe and to what was going on.
Yeah.
Because that was my number one when we did the impactful movies.
Yeah.
Was the first Avengers movie.
It's the one that, hands down, if I gave them all up and I could only have one movie, Avengers stands on its own as what it is, and I would watch that over and over and over. I've already done it.
No, okay, out of the three, Loki is the best villain.
Better than even Thanos.
No, out of the top three.
Okay. That's why it's so hard for me, because
Yeah,
it's the one I've seen. It's the one that makes me feel like a little kid, and I've seen it 20
Okay,
times.
we decided number one. Avengers is number one. Let's just pick that
Avengers
up.
is number one.
Okay, you won, Marcus.
Do I get it? Really?
Yep.
Wow.
But we're not done.
We still got to argue 2 and 3.
I would give you guys. I would go Guardians and Thor, if you guys are willing to do that.
no.
No,
I
you
still
want Thor
more
before
than
it?
Guardians.
Really?
I got Avengers. I'm fine with it.
I
Because
don't-
I think they're both really good. I think all three are so good.
I know.
Okay. Which
I just don't want to put...
Thor 3 did have a better villain compared to Guardians. Villains matter for me. Thor 3 had a moderately better villain. Thor 3 had a lot of scope. I mean, even for Asgard, Jeff Goldblum.
But at the same time, I also feel like if we make Avengers the number one, we're doing that purely on what it meant as the team, right? And what we witnessed as them. That's a standalone movie. That's a great team origin movie. Introduces the characters. They develop so much. I kind of feel like Guardians does the same thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of give that as my number two. I think that beats out Thor. Ragnarok.
Putting Thor and Hulk on the map as important characters, that is a huge milestone.
I gotta say, I think the Avengers, though, being as my number 2 spot's far more important than...
You mean Guardians?
No, or Guardian. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, Guardians is your number. We've all had too much beer, and it's been like 2 hours. I don't even know how long it's been, but it's a long time.
My phone's dead. I don't know what time it is. What time is it?
How long have we been doing this, Jack? It says on the bottom of your OBS over there.
An hour and 8 minutes.
Oh, nice. Not too bad.
Yeah.
It's quicker than I thought.
Never mind the 2 other episodes we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh.
So
Alright, guys.
I think before we definitively say that's it, do we
my
want to
God.
look over the list?
No.
Do we want to punch anyone in the face?
You know what? I don't want to. I
think we actually agreed on a lot of stuff more than I expected us to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
I mean,
Feel pretty. I am.
our
I
bottom
can't-
three, our bottom 3 and our top 3 were definitely.
we were in the same wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how excited I am that Avengers made it number one. I owe you guys so
You know what?
much
Hey,
for
you know
that.
what? Let's go take what out of spite. Let's do something.
Iron Man 3, move it up to number one. Just swap those two. Yeah,
No.
you dick. I actually feel pretty good about this list.
Yeah, I do.
It's definitely adjusted
Thinking
from
about
what
it,
I'd done, but it's kind of
I've
it's
made-
kind of in the wheelhouse.
Hulk was not adjusted at all. You know, I'm gonna. Yeah.
I really
Dude, my
Hulk was not adjusted
16,
at all.
17, 18, and 19 are almost exactly the
Yeah.
same.
Iron Man 3, not. Doctor Strange, I would like to see a little bit higher because I really appreciate
Yep,
the
my
action and
19,
the
18, and 17 are totally my original, and we shifted my 15 to 16. Is all we
Yeah,
did for
That's exactly what we did for me, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're really close on
And then,
those
yeah,
bottom
Hulk
ones.
and Thor 2, and then it was Iron Man 2, I think was actually before Thor 2.
But
After Thor
again, how important is it to emphasize that we fought the instant we got to like 15,
2. Yeah.
right? How
we
amazing!
fought at
We
16.
fought at 17.
Yeah,
Well,
you did.
Really, we fought at 18.
We agreed.
because I said
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, but then we switched Thor 2. and-
but like, how much credit is that really to the MCU,
A lot
right?
of
To
credit.
what they've done.
Secret.
Like, not only are they making superhero movies relevant, but they're making superhero movies,
yeah.
right? Not just eye candy fanfare movies. Like, these are legitimate movies to look at from that standpoint also.
Yeah.
Not just as a fanboy, right?
Yeah.
It's
I think we just made us fanboys by
right.
far, just arguing it like we did.
oh, for sure. Yeah. But
I might read through the list.
yeah, do
I
it.
feel like it.
Yeah,
All
run
right.
through for the people that are listening on the audio, we love you.
For the fans,
You're gonna
Number
go
19.
number 19.
Hulk. 18, Thor 2, The Dark World. Number 17, Iron Man 3. Number 16, Doctor Strange. I'm going to stop numbering now. Thor, Black Panther, Captain America, The First Avenger, Spider-Man, Homecoming, Iron Man 2, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Avengers 3, Infinity War, Iron Man, Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Captain America 3, Civil War.
Okay, now you have to number them because they're the top
Number
3.
Thor 3, Ragnarok. That's kind of funny. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and number 1, Hulk.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I mean Avengers.
yeah, right. I
No,
actually feel pretty good about the list.
I feel pretty
I
good
do too, and
Yeah.
Of course, it's always
It's-
subject to
I know.
change
It's-
because
it's-
that's the nerd in us, right? It always is.
as
but-
hard as it was to give up Thor number 1 spot, I still feel I have to give Guardians the second.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because the more I think about Thor, I'm like, yeah, it had some flaws, but Guardians of the Galaxy it established a team in one movie. Avengers had to establish it in like 5. Guardians did the same in 1, and that's an incredible
I
thing.
really think that's an important thing to
But it
acknowledge.
didn't have of course, they did have to rush a lot, like the villain. And
Yeah.
okay, I will give Thor 1 that it established Loki. As
Yeah,
a
I did
villain.
do that. Yeah,
And
Yeah,
yeah,
and and
Almost
really
didn't
in
want to
Thor
put up
1,
more. Damn.
isn't Thor 1 the only movie that we really get the relevant Asgard crew? Like after
Yes.
that, they're kind of irrelevant after that.
I mean,
Yep.
we're kind of I don't know.
I mean, they were always secondary, right, to
I
Thor.
guess it
But
established Hawkeye as well, but he was just kind of like a guy, not Hawkeye.
in Thor,
Yeah,
was he in Thor?
yeah. He was interrogating him.
oh, that's right.
See,
Ah.
you'd forget.
I did
because
forget.
The movie was
So impactful.
yeah.
No, I feel pretty good about it. I'm actually amazed that we were able to come up with the
Yeah.
list
Oh
as
my God.
amicably as we did.
In an hour and like 8 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
I thought this was gonna be like a 2-hour episode.
yeah.
That's pretty good. This was a
Wow.
good after party.
Now I can't wait for when there's double this. That's gonna be an episode. I am actually excited for that.
No, we will make note of these movies, and we
Yeah.
will keep them in our Nerdbuzzed bank for where they
I'll take a
fall.
picture.
And to be honest with you, I hope that as our next couple movies come out, that they like immediately jump to like number 11, right?
Oh, it has to. I mean, they have to fall.
I
at
would
least-
say number 10. I could Age of Ultron. Well, okay, you know what?
Let's do like a let's
I need to
do
watch
because
every single one of them again.
we're so into traveling through time right now. Let's consider
Okay, so Ant-Man and Wasp.
Ant-Man Wasp. That's our next one.
Okay, we've watched.
Where do you think that might fall on our list after it comes out? Where do you hope it will
Okay,
fall?
so from what we saw from
Hope
the previews,
one.
where
Always
it
hope one.
sits,
Yeah.
I hope it directly supersedes Ant-Man, so it's going to take the 9 spot, which is just going to move everything down.
So you mean bump Ant-Man to 10?
Yeah.
Like just shift everything down and it
think-
will be
yeah.
above Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I
I
would
hope
like
so.
that.
I think that's such an optimistic point of view.
It looks
I
like,
know, but I'm just saying.
I think
what
it's
we
great.
see-
Yeah.
I think it looks like it knows what it is more than Ant-Man did. Like it has like it's like okay, this is what Ant-Man is. This is what the
I will
movie
say
is.
this, because we have Ant-Man and Infinity War so close, if my theory on that Wasp will like dust in the end,
Oh my
and
God.
that will make it relevant
I think
to
Ant-Man would be-
Infinity
it would be
War,
even- ugh.
that might actually bump Infinity War up on my list a little bit. Because now it's not just this single movie in the MCU, right? And
No girls allowed.
yeah. But I think that will make Infinity War actually have some like tangible relevance to everything else that's happening, which I think could bump Ant-Man Wasp even higher than potentially number 9. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
And what do you think about Captain Marvel? Again, I think there's so much Infinity War
know
tie-in
nothing
potential.
about Captain Marvel.
I
I know
just-
she's super hot in the comics, and the actress pretty hot. So you know,
clearly there's a demographic.
Yeah.
for me, it could either be number 6 or 9. That's yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll have to see.
Did you see what he just did there?
So let me ask you this then, because obviously the hot nerd MCU movie
No, he got it.
is
He's
Infinity War.
intentionally
Yeah.
ignoring you. Like I should have.
Yeah.
Don't instigate it. Yeah.
The movie everybody's hung up on is Infinity War, right? Let's say Infinity War Part 2, whatever, Avengers 4, comes out, and it's not as good as the first Infinity War. Is that going to drop Infinity War on your list? Is that going to take away from the impact of it?
I mean,
from what I
look,
think-
so many people are going to come back. I hope they don't. I actually really hope the gauntlet gets broken or something, and no one comes back.
So
That
from
would be.
But no one will. They all have movies coming out, right? That's part of my argument is like, how impactful would it have been if Captain America or Iron Man would have died, right? If they would have died in this movie, you would have thought, that's
Well, okay,
it. Like
Loki's-
they don't
well, I
have
think
movies
Loki's
on the
gone.
movies coming back. But Loki's already died 3 times and come back.
I don't know, Thanos.
I think the
So-
fact that Red Skull came back is
kinda cool.
such an argument for the fact that no one's dead. Even Red Skull came back
No,
in the
but
movie.
He obviously didn't die. Like, I knew he didn't die. The Tesseract took him through space. That was the thing. That was the whole thing about it.
Yeah.
So, my whole take on the way Avengers Infinity War was done is we got it in 2 parts because it was far too long and far
Yeah.
too ambitious to be done in one shot.
It
Yeah.
didn't feel.
Okay.
I didn't feel.
So
cheap.
I think when we get the second one, doesn't matter how it plays out, they have to be given a 1-2 spot or 7-8 spot or 6-7 spot.
Oh, you think they have to be one after the other?
Yes,
No matter what. Like,
Yeah.
they should be considered a whole.
exactly.
But, okay, but now let's rank your Star Wars movies. Do you put Empire right before Jedi? Look at it that way,
Empire.
right?
Empire is better than Jedi.
Oh, hands down
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Far better.
But I think Force Awakens is better than Jedi. If you made a list, don't
Okay.
tell me that
Wait,
Force
wait,
Awakens wouldn't
Force
come before
Awakens,
Jedi.
Last Jedi or Return of the Jedi? Force
Return,
Awakens is
we're talking about
worse
Return
than
of the
Return
Jedi.
of the Jedi.
No,
No.
what?
Return of the Jedi means more.
No, Force Awakens, the newest of the new
Oh,
trilogy, is
okay.
better than Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
Which-
Return of the Jedi.
No,
Yes,
no,
not the Last
no.
Jedi. The Last Jedi is the worst on my
Ewoks
list.
suck, but God damn it, the whole Luke overcoming his hatred and becoming a Jedi, awesome,
That was good. Yeah.
awesome.
So you think
Right.
And sorry, the Leia
and Darth
forest
Vader
scene, that was
dying.
awesome.
what in Last Jedi?
No, in Return of the Jedi.
No, my Last Jedi, Leia for yeah, oh my
Yeah.
God.
So
But
you
like a
think? So you do like Return of the Jedi better than Force Awakens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think nostalgically, I'm totally in the same boat as you. But I think as far as doing what Force Awakens
No.
did in like instilling that
Force
nostalgia,
Awakens was literally just like a clone of A New Hope. Like on so many levels. It relied so much.
but I
on
think it was so
nostalgia.
relevant for when it came out. It's what we needed. We were so burnt out on that first trilogy,
But
the 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
That was not what we wanted ever, and we got everything we wanted that we'd hoped would have been in those in that movie.
We're such
right?
nerds. Okay, we just went.
But
we
what
just
I
went
think-
from.
No.
But I think it's also
Personally, For me, I would.
We
rate,
did.
I
We
would
totally
rate
did
it
that.
lower because of the Last Jedi, because of what came after.
Oh my god.
Because it represents this shallow, like you think you're okay.
So next
starting-
after party, we're going to rank all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I sit in so much reservation over Infinity War because I don't know whether or not I can consider it
I'm sorry.
Empire or Return of the Jedi yet.
Infinity War, though, I seriously, it's
Good.
Empire and Jedi are still two clearly. They're continuations of the same story, but they're clearly their own movies.
Yeah.
But one totally ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, Empire totally does.
Yeah.
But it's such a down note, such a depressing
Yeah.
movie. That's what makes it. And yes, this does end with a
To the
depressing.
point where we need teddy bears in the follow-up, right? To reinvigorate us being comforted. Which is a great scene, but let's face it, that's what that is.
But everything with Luke felt very good, very continued, right?
I hold so much on my final judgment on Infinity War. I would love to have Avengers 4 come out and me say, I eat every word I said about Infinity War. That movie is awesome. That movie, Avengers 4 is above Infinity War. Like, it's so good. Like,
Soundbite
who
that.
knows? Yeah,
I
right?
hate every word I said.
I hope I do. I really, really hope I do. But I'm not willing to sit here and say that Infinity War is that good because I hope 4 is going to be that much better, right? Until it happens, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pipe dream. Right now
really-
it is,
it really
right?
is.
It is.
I don't know. Who knows?
It's all piping dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it could be like watching the world be like, oh, it's been 2 years since this event happened. This is how we've adapted and everything. It could be like a really downer movie, but also be like that final fight scene is going to be insane.
Yeah. And
When
who's
Thanos
going to fight
was just
who, right?
Okay, I mean, a little. With the whole thing with Thanos being like little like how it was all like different colors, it was kind of a little boring. But I hope he does more stuff with his powers.
I will be so bummed if Avengers 4 comes down to Gamora and Thanos in the final fight, and it's like a mental battle. That will not be
Okay,
cool
yeah,
with me.
that would not be cool.
Right?
And
But
I
you
think-
could
I think Gamora's dead for good.
totally see that happening, right?
I think she's dead for good because she was sacrificed to get the Infinity Stone. I think that's one of the deaths.
But in the comic books, even Gamora gets trapped in the Soul Stone,
oh, that's right.
and
It's just swirling
they
around in his mind.
they have to like go back to the Soul Stone and get her out. And I think that scene in the movie where he's talking to her as a child is in the Soul Stone. It's the same color as the Soul Stone in the background. Like, I think that is that instance happening. So, like, who knows, right?
Where he is like.
It could all be done really cool. Like, they still could spin that. Like, maybe they'll take that final scenario of Thanos and Gamora fighting and spin
While
it in a
he's
way I
fighting
wasn't thinking
anyone
of,
else.
right? And, like, they could maybe do that the awesomest way. But I'm not willing to make Infinity War amazing because of what my own personal pipe dream.
That ending
right?
shot though was just so like.
That was so comic book. That was one of the best shots.
No,
of
but
it.
like the way he just like looked out and smiled, it was like you're like
Yeah.
I wanna. What am I supposed to feel?
The other theory I kind of proposed on the Enthusiast Life. Go check them out; they're really awesome. Was that I really wish Lady Death would have been in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And what if Lady Death was actually
Skull.
Red Skull and the Gamora as a kid, right? Like, what if she is the one that's like, how did that feel, Thanos? And he's like, it sucked, but I feel so good and light now that it's happened. And she comes back as whatever other people, and she's like, don't you want to do it again? And that's the reason that he comes back and like wants to kill everybody again, and they really have to work as a team now, right?
Oh,
They get a
dang.
second chance. Like, that could happen too. Who knows? I'd love for them to introduce Lady Death.
Why is
Like,
the
if all
Gauntlet
those
used
things
to be-
happen, Infinity War's phenomenal, and it's such a great way to close that
because the thing
chapter.
is, you don't know how many things it's set up until the next one comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I hold so much reservation over it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I'm actually pretty pleased where it falls. I think it's justifiably the way it is. It could easily move up if Avengers 4
I
is
would like
phenomenal.
to rewatch all of them with this list in mind. Like
Yeah.
even Hulk. I don't think I've ever even watched Hulk all the way through.
I've
Yeah.
seen
It's
it,
very 90s
twice.
superhero movie.
but it's probably,
Early 2000s
I would say,
superhero
but it's
movie.
probably been 5 or 6 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it on TV, like regular network TV, like twice now, which tells
That
you
was
where
the
that
second
falls.
time I saw it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I would love, please comment, let us know how we did on our list. I'd love to see other people's lists. Please do that. As you can see, this is a compromised list that we all came together and agreed upon.
We like the adventures.
Yeah, right.
This is what it's like, you guys.
Yeah, right. This is life. But no, really, I'd love to hear what other people have to say.
Yeah.
That would be really, really cool. Maybe you can sway us to shift our list a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, give us some arguments.
Yeah, please do it. Should we end on that note? This was a solid. I really appreciate. I appreciate both of you guys putting up with my arguments.
I appreciate you putting up with mine. I like
God.
feeling like bartering.
Right? Yeah.
But at the end, I think this is.
I feel stuck in the middle. Oh wait.
To all the nerds,
Through all the fuzz.
bottoms up. Let's get nerd buzzed.
Are you kidding me?
Did you get at least a delayed
What's wrong with
explosion?
Oh my god. Are you kidding?
Because you're not on the screen
Talking
because you're
about
clicking stuff. Do it,
beer.
Jack. There you go.
Talking about nerd culture,
I hate this.
you're on
I'm so sorry.
Nerdbuzzed.
I'm still working.
Marcus
did
and
something.
Jeremiah,
That was fun. I'm glad we did
you're on
that.
Nerdbuzzed.
There's a couple that I had in there that I was
Let's
like, there's
get
no way he's
Nerdbuzzed.
gonna move these ones. And you did. I was like, holy shit.
Bye, guys.
To compromise for others. I knew we all had cards that we were like, we had our